I'm at InfoSec 2024 in the Welcome to Bavaria section of the trade show floor with Dennis from IDEE. Hi Dennis, thank you so much for spending time to chat with me.
Hi Chris, it's a pleasure meeting you today.
Great. First and foremost, IDEE, what's IDEE and what problems are you trying to solve with your technology?
So we are trying to solve the simple, most biggest problem in cybersecurity, and that's user identity. Because once you can steal someone's identity, you can be able to take over their accounts, and you can be able to collapse the enterprise. And what we are doing is we are giving people the power to stop hackers from getting in with phish-proof multi-factor authentication.
Phish-proof multi-factor authentication, that is outstanding, because that's something, it's great. You see people implementing MFA, but then often you see things like it being bypassed by kind of things like pop-up sprawl. You get the authorized thing firing 10, 15 times, and in the end the user just goes, oh, I need to make this go away, I'm just going to press this.
Yes.
You see time and time again attacks taking place like that. So good that you're bringing something to market to combat those kind of things. That's pretty cool. Outside of, obviously, you mentioned identity being one of the biggest cyber threats, what are you seeing in the market? What are you seeing with some of your customers as like some of the bad things that are happening in information security at the moment and threats?
Yeah, so we like to classify it into three categories. One is vulnerabilities,
Yes.
one is stolen credentials, and the third is backdoors. But if you look at almost all the threat intelligence reports, almost in the last 3-4 years, identity is number one. And it's not just being number one, the impact when you use a valid credential to compromise a company is more than 190 times more difficult to detect, prevent, or even know that something has happened. And it's not just me saying it. That's the report from IBM, the latest threat intelligence index reports.
Absolutely. And when you speak about kind of identity and authenticated users doing things that they shouldn't, or people using that identity, kind of leads me on to my next question around insider threat and insider risk. Now, there's been a lot of conversation around, and as a CISO with those CISOs, there's that balance between user privacy and protecting the data of your company, and it's often quite difficult to kind of set that quite well. How do you, as a CISO, think that can be done in a meaningful and sensible way?
So actually, I like that topic of privacy because at IDEE, privacy is at the zero of everything, at the heart of everything we do. We say that we are zero PII because we don't actually get any user private information. The minimum information that we need to be able to identify you and authenticate you is what we have, and we don't even have it. We have only a sorted hash of that.
So protecting data by not having the data in the first place.
In the first place.
That certainly makes a great deal of sense.
Yes.
Another big thing in the news at the moment is ransomware. Everybody seems to be either, very concerned about it or, trying to figure out what to do about it. And there's governments that are saying, hey, we're thinking about, making it illegal to pay ransomware payments. I know it's a really difficult question, but kind of what are some of your thoughts on that? Is that a practical response or, what's the right thing?
I think it's not a practical response, but I will go back to the former question about the insider threats.
Yes.
Because last 3 years, we actually had a patent on privileged insider threat prevention, and now it has been granted. And what it does is to prevent insiders from compromising an organization using credentials. And in addition to that, our products that we use, we do it in a way that we don't collect any data. We don't install any software on the user computer, which that can then intrude on their privacy. So from that angle, we believe that privacy should be a right. It should be non-negotiable.
Excellent.
And when you go back to ransomware, I would also like to refer you to a report by the NCSC in collaboration with the CISO. They say that most cybersecurity breaches are not due to sophisticated attack mechanisms, but basic hygienes. Number one, because of lack of MFA. Number two, lack of patching vulnerabilities. And number three, insider threat, as you mentioned earlier on. And when you pay the breach, you're actually giving them more reasons to come back and hold your ransom again.
Absolutely.
And you don't even No, if they actually deleted the data they collected in the first place.
So what you're saying is, actually, it's the wrong question. People need to be thinking about doing the basics right and protecting the ability for ransomware to spread in the first place, rather than asking themselves the question, after they've not done that, how do we clean up afterwards? There's some homework that, companies need to do first, right?
Yeah, I think it's more of the philosophy of security leaders. Like I heard some people say that 90% should be detection and 10% prevention, but I disagree on that. Because you cannot really, if you can prevent it, why do you need to detect it? You only need to detect what you cannot prevent.
Exactly. Detection is a safety net as opposed to a first-line response.
That's correct.
That's a great thought to finish on, Dennis, and thank you so much for your time today. I wish you a really successful show.
It's my great pleasure meeting you. Thank you
Take care.
so much.